Hi, I'm JXE, and today I'm going to be talking about WatchMojo of all things. Recently, WatchMojo attempted a breakdown of the Avengers Endgame trailer, and that's the video I'm going to be responding to today.
Part of the journey is the ending. And we are at the Avengers Endgame. That's right, we are doing a trailer breakdown of Avengers 4. Haha.
Now, WatchMojo is a business that specializes in manufacturing content that's designed to go on YouTube. If you've heard of WatchMojo, which, let's be honest, you have, it was probably thanks to their top 10 list videos. Videos in which they arrange things into a top 10 list. Yeah, that's what a top 10 video is. Many people would argue that they ran out of ideas for that series a very long time ago, but it seems like these days they want to do more than just top 10 lists, and I can't blame them. It seems like they're trying to break into the trailer breakdown market, but it seems they've skipped what I consider to be a very important step in doing that, which is hiring people who know how. Let's just jump right on into it.
Okay, so immediately, you were the one who pointed out that there's like a...
Yeah, there's like a weird symbol looking thing. It could just be a dent, but like it looks kind of deliberate.
So that's the first thing contributed by WatchMojo. So there's a symbol on the Iron Man helmet. We don't know what it is. In fact, we're not even sure it's a symbol. Yeah, but let's at least hear them out. What do they have to say about this symbol, and what do they think it means?
It does look deliberate, which leads me to believe that this isn't actually his helmet. It's a helmet that kind of looks like his.
What? It's not all there, like the helmet isn't completely formed, but from what is there, you can tell that it looks exactly like one of Tony's helmets.
Iron Man has started using like nano armor.
Right.
So it's kind of like Black Panther's armor as well.
So he doesn't actually have a physical helmet to take off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think this is like an alien helmet.
Wait, what? No! The fact that it's made of nanotech doesn't mean that it physically doesn't exist. What are you talking about? The nanotech allows the suit to change shape and reform. It doesn't mean it's not there. Like, it is a thing. It's just kind of a wibbly thing. Okay. I will not say absolutely definitively that this is Iron Man's helmet. But, it is though. If it isn't, then it is a helmet that's completely identical to Iron Man's helmet in basically every way, and appears to be half-formed, almost as if it was made out of nanotech. And before we move on to the next thing it is they have to say, I would feel like I wasn't doing my job properly if I didn't point out all of this other stuff on the helmet that looks a bit like the quote-unquote symbol. Stuff that I assume is also a result of the nanotech not being able to fully form the helmet. But let's move on to the next thing they bring up.
Okay, you had a really good point about this.
I'll be honest, I'm gonna go ahead and doubt you on that one. Partially based on that first point, and also partially based on the fact that I've seen this whole video already. I wouldn't really be making a response to it if I hadn't. I've had to subject myself to this video way too many times for this.
Yeah, so this ship isn't the same ship that Nebula arrived in.
Okay.
When she went to the Titan homeworld, and Iron Man and company arrived in a completely different ship.
Right.
So we don't know what this ship is. It's probably a Titan ship.
Yes, it's not the ship that Nebula arrived in, and it's also not the ship that Tony and co arrived in. If only there was some kind of third option, some kind of third ship perhaps that would possibly explain this. You know, maybe a ship that looks exactly like the one on screen. You know, maybe that would provide a potential answer to what ship this could possibly be. Yes or no, it's the Benatar, which is the Guardians ship. It's the ship that they used to get to Titan, and is the third other ship that WatchMojo, I assume, just forgot about. Although, based on their last point, maybe they just think it's a completely different, but also coincidentally completely identical ship. Oh, I'd also like to take some time out to thank WatchMojo for supplying this incredibly helpful big red arrow. I hadn't previously noticed the ship that's in the center of the screen, but now, thanks to the arrow, I have.
So we don't know what this ship is. It's probably a Titan ship.
Okay, and we'll talk about why we think that later in the trailer.
You're going to talk about why you think that? You mean you're going to bring up the fact that you just haven't really been paying attention?
Because he's all like, it's like sending Pepper a love letter.
I mean, maybe he has this ship, like it's programmed to go to Earth. No, because he says it's adrift. I don't know why he thinks she's going to find it, but...
Maybe he'll throw it at Earth eventually or something.
Or maybe it's a last-ditch attempt by a man with no hope of rescue adrift in space, who's recording his last thoughts and desperately trying to cling on to the hope that the person he loves will eventually find it. But you know, your idea that he'll just like chuck it at the Earth works too, I guess. I mean, I get that was probably a joke, but the whole point you guys are making here does give the impression that you don't really understand what desperation is. Like, the man thinks he's gonna die. What's he supposed to do? Twiddle his thumbs in this mysterious alien ship next to that mysterious alien helmet?
Okay, pause. This was the really good point I thought you had about the ship, because you said that it mimics its shape.
Yeah, exactly. I find the shape of the ship, the silhouette of the ship, looks a lot like Thanos' hung-up armor.
You know what? Fucking sure. I'll give you that one. They are vaguely similar shapes. I'm sure that'll turn out to be really significant. One thing that also interests me about that clip is the fact that she knew he had a point to make about that.
This was the really good point I thought you had about the ship.
Which means they must have discussed it beforehand. Yet, this is still the best they could come up with, apparently. Wow.
Hung-up armor, which is
A scarecrow.
which is maybe it's a scarecrow, but it's sort of more symbolic of, like, a warrior who's hung up his armor. It means he's finished. Thanos is retired. He's not just chilling for a little bit.
I actually interpreted
recover.
it more like it was a worship thing.
I don't think so, because you see the hut here. This is probably the same hut that he's sort of just like chilling in at the end of the last movie. So maybe it's.
I know, but like if you hung it up, wouldn't you just be like, and throw it away?
Okay, the fact that they don't recognize this suggests to me that they haven't read the Infinity Comics, because this is something that Thanos did in the comics. He hung up his armor as a scarecrow. Now, it strikes me that if you're going to break down a trailer for a film that is based on some comics, even if it's a looser adaptation, and you're trying to provide insight on that trailer, that reading those comics would be something that you would probably want to try and do. Okay, I'm going to skip forward until I have something else to talk about, because they just kind of say a whole load of not very much for a while after that.
Yeah, so here's Nebula on the Milano.
Wait a second, so you do remember that that ship exists? Well, you got the wrong ship name, but you do remember that the Guardians have a ship.
So I think, and I know you disagree, but I think that she just kind of ditched Iron Man on Titan.
I just don't get why anyone would do that.
And just went to
like
the-
leave him to die in space. They just like teamed up to try to stop Thanos.
And
Like,
they failed, so she's probably a little bit bitter.
At him?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They literally show you the ship in the scene with Tony. And behind him you can see the cockpit. The same cockpit that we always see the Guardians in. Like, I won't say with 100% certainty that this is the Benatar, because I haven't seen this film yet. But what I will say is that there is no reason currently to assume that it isn't. When you consider the fact that it looks identical to the Benatar. Like, just again, here's the ship that Tony's in, and here's the Benatar. The ship that Tony's in, the Benatar. So maybe by some huge coincidence they just happen to be two almost completely identical ships. But I would suggest that a much simpler explanation would be that they're just the same fucking ship. Oh, also thanks for providing a summary of your own video within your video. I always love it when people do that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of already got that impression. It's at this point they move on to talking about the clip with Hawkeye in it. They don't really have much to add here, which is probably for the best, because if they did decide to try and add something here, it would probably be them saying something along the lines of, hey, this might actually not be Clint. It might just be someone who looks exactly like him.
And he's killing people, which I guess like he's continuing Thanos' good work.
Now, let it not be said that I don't give credit where credit is due. I did really like that joke. I thought it was funny.
It seems kind of weird to me that he's killing people. I mean, maybe they're like looting, or maybe they're bad guys trying to take advantage of the snap, like maybe they're Yakuza, but it seems a little bit weird to me that he's killing people.
Yeah, and Black Widow looks surprised.
That's kind of all they contribute to the discussion there. They're like, Hawkeye wouldn't normally do this, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, no, he wouldn't, I guess. Honestly, I don't really have a problem with that. They don't have to talk about every single detail. They don't have to have something to add for every single detail. My problem with this video is the things that they do try to add. After that, they go on to talking about the fact that we don't really know what the solution to Thanos' snap is going to be. They bring up the fact that we just don't really know what the actual story of this film is going to be. What possible plan the Avengers might have.
Yeah, okay, fine. Even if they kill Thanos, how do they bring back a bunch of people who are already disintegrated or whatever?
Well, exactly. I'm curious what the sort of we don't really know what the story of this movie is going to be.
And again, fine. You don't have to know everything. That's not a requirement. That's really not what I'm criticizing this video for.
Besides undoing this.
Isn't there time travel, Captain Marvel, who is not in this trailer, spoiler alert?
I like how the one thing that warranted a spoiler alert there was the one thing that was in no way a spoiler or even potentially a spoiler. Like, you said two things that haven't been confirmed by the trailers yet. Captain Marvel's appearance and time travel, which apparently warrants no spoiler warning at all. But then when you mention things about the actual trailer that you're currently breaking down, that's apparently a spoiler? What? And that's really it. That's basically the path the video continues down right until the end, and we're very close to the end now anyway. There's basically just the title card and then the Ant-Man appearance to go, and for basically that whole thing they're like, hey look, it's a title card. Hey look, it's Ant-Man. And they point some stuff out that I hadn't personally noticed, like the fact that in the corner of the screen on the Ant-Man footage it says archive. I hadn't noticed that.
Yeah, here. Like it says archive. Here, I'll put.
Oh
like
yeah,
here.
it does say archive.
But I'd say that's the biggest thing they add. And yeah, I'm not really going to cover the rest of it, because you don't need to hear me saying the same thing over and over again of, yeah, they don't really say much wrong here, but they don't really say much at all here. So that's it. I hope you have enjoyed. If you have, there are some links on screen now to some more of my content. Now, unfortunately, this might be one of my last videos of the year. I do plan on doing a few more, but I'm probably going to take a break during the Christmas and New Year period, which is going to be the first break I've taken from YouTube since I started 2 years ago. It's probably going to feel pretty weird. But I will see you on Wednesday, so until then, a goodbye.